Well, I'm very pleased to welcome Professor Diwakar Acharya, who's the Spalding Professor of Eastern Religion and Ethics at All Souls College here in Oxford, which I mean, in my view, it's the most prestigious institute for the study of Indian religions in the world. So I think we're very pleased to have Professor Acharya with us today, and for the study of Indian civilizations generally, I think. So Professor Acharya's research has been in the evolution and history of Indian religions and philosophical ideas. He works from texts, but I think it's not just texts, it's from manuscripts, that goes back to the original sources themselves. And from those original sources builds up a kind of higher level, if you like, or higher level categorization and history of the tradition and of the religions and the philosophies, but based on a solid textual base, which I think is so important. He's published and critically edited texts, especially early Tantric Vaishnavism, and published studies of early Indian philosophy. He also edits the Journal of Indian Philosophy. I first came upon Professor Acharya several years ago, before he had his current position, and I've always been so impressed by his profound knowledge of the tradition, and also his the way he wears this knowledge very lightly. I don't want to embarrass him, but he wears it very lightly and with great humility as well. So I'm honoured to be introducing him this afternoon, and he's going to speak to us today on the Shakta traditions with a lecture entitled The Body of the Goddess.
Yeah, thank you.
Over to you.
Yeah, I'm very much honored again to come to OCHS and talk on this topic. So even before I was appointed here, I was in my Oxford connection was with Oxford Center for Hindu Studies. I was here in 2010 as a Shivadasani Fellow. So I want to remember that. So, okay, anyway, so today I'm going to talk on this topic of the body of the goddess. So what is my plan is basically I want to remind you that the Indian divinity embeds multiple personalities. So let's say Vishnu, Shiva, and that applies also to Shakti. Like in case of Vishnu, originally Vishnu is a solar deity. There is a presence of Prajapati, there is presence of Indra, Narayana, Vasudeva, even the love god Kamadeva. The same applies to Shiva. No? So Shiva is not just Vedic Rudra. There is actually many people do not see that properly. There is Yaksha. So he is a companion of Kubera. So Kailasa is the abode of Yaksha. And then Shiva as a householder, that goes back to the Yaksha worship. So in case of Shakti also, I would like to point out some similar kind of multiple personalities in the person of the goddess and why it happens. No? Like there are, maybe we can reflect on that in due course. The Indian divinities, they are immanent as well as transcendent. There is royal power, there is Brahmic priestly power. So different components are there. And then when in due course of development of religion, we recognize one or the other deity in our tradition as the supreme, as the ultimate. So there is equation, identification, and then this kind of layering is there. So somehow maybe we will see that today. So I would like to start from a story from Shatapatha Brahmana. So people who have worked on Shaktism, they basically start with Harivamsa, and then maybe people go back to Rig Veda and say that there are the I can say that proto goddesses like Ratri or Ushas, but there is something concrete. So some sort of interface for what we now for our convenience call Hinduism or popular the Hinduism and later tradition of Brahmanism and Vedic world. The interface can be found in the Brahmanas. So I try to show that. So there is a story in the Shatapatha Brahmana in the 11th book, where there is, let me narrate that story and then compare that story with the story of embodiment of the goddess in Devīmāhātmya and see what's happening, what is the idea behind this myth and so on. So Prajapati, while creating living beings, he was burning up, feverish. From him, tired and febrile, Sri sprang forth. Sri, as an embodiment of his energy, who represented power, fortune, and beauty, she stood there, blazing, shining, and flickering. So the gods, beholding her thus blazing, shining, and flickering, coveted her belongings. They said to Prajapati, "Let us kill her and take all this from her." So you see that again in these Brahmana texts, you have different layers of discourses. Like there is one myth is going on, there is ritual narration going on, also there is profane. So there is, and also Brahmana stories come with some sarcasm. So I say that there is sarcasm. So what is happening in profane social world? So that is there. They said, "Let's kill," and then, but he said, so again sarcasm is there. This is definitely a woman that you have here as Sri, and people never kill a woman, but take all that she has from her while she is alive. So this I say really a satire. So you see this kind of satire also in other places. Maybe you know that there is again can be problematic in certain context. A story. So they had ambivalent feeling about beef eating. So, and then so they say that let's do not eat beef. So again, so the Brahmana at one point. So they say yes, okay, it's not good. We don't eat beef. But then Yajivalkya comes and he says that maybe he's again cracking a joke and satire, and he says that if it is tender and from young calves, I will eat. So this kind of sarcasm, I would say, you find. So here also there is sarcasm. So Agni then took food from her, Soma took kingdom, Varuna took universal sovereignty from Sri, so she is that way dispossessed. Mitra took royal power, Indra took might, Brihaspati took Brahmic power, Savita took dominion, Rashtra, and Pushan took wealth, possession, distinction, whichever way you interpret Bhaga. Saraswati took the nourishing power, and Twastri took all beautiful forms. So she said then, now dispossessed, she said to Prajapati, "They have taken all this from me." So then he said, by way of sacrifice, ask them to give it back. So she perceived this form of sacrifice with 10 offerings, a cake on 8 pot sets for Agni, and so on. So the different types of offerings. And then she invited them with the invitation spell, "May Indra, Soma, Varuna, Mitra, Indra, Brihaspati, Savitri, Pushan, Saraswati, Twastri, with all these things they have taken, they come." So ritual magic has the forceful power. They have to come. So they can't do otherwise. She then approached them with this offering spell in the inverted order, starting from the last. "May Twastri give me beautiful forms, may bountiful Saraswati give me back the nourishing power," and so on. So she then perceived individual supplementary oblation. So individually she said, "May Agni, the food eater, the lord of food, bestow food upon me at this sacrifice," and so on. So they are now forced. So then Agni departed after taking that oblation and returning food to her. So that way, one after the other, they returned. So Soma came, so finally Twastri came. So that way she again became complete. And these are the 10 deities, these are the 10 sacrificial dishes, 10 offerings, and then 10 presents to priests. So the Virat consists of things in decades and so on. So there is again ritual mapping going on. But interestingly, this whole episode, this ritual which Sri to get all these things back performed is named there as Mitra Binda, friend finding. So the idea is that, again, it is related with Yajivalkya, and so Janaka. So Janaka, so somehow it was passed to the Videha kings, first to Rahugana, and then, but it was lost. But Janaka was finding it, trying to find it. He found it in Yajnavalkya, and so on. So they interpret this Mitravinda. It is called Mitravinda Ishti, and so some association is there that there is winning friendship back, and then winning back their own possession, and it has some. All these 10 components are related with the royal dominion, kingdom, and so on. So Sri is again historically very much related with palace, related with the royalty, and in some inscriptions also. Like in one Lichavi inscription from even in 7th century, when they were talking about their shares allocated to the deities, so they allocate share to Agni. So inside the palace, they allocate share to Sri. They allocate share to Shashti and other deities. So Sri was very much in the center of this royal cult of royalty and royal power and so on. So here, so, and again Prajapati is the sovereign of the Vedic world, and Sri is Sri comes out of Prajapati, and then somehow her relation with 10 important deities of the Vedic world. So somehow there is tension. So many different things are reflected in this story. So we will come back to the symbolism and other things. So now let's go to the Devīmāhātmya. Maybe all of you know that there is a story of embodiment of the goddess. So there was a big battle between Devas and Asuras, as in many stories happens. But Devas were defeated. They went to the Vishnu and Shiva. So they assembled together, and then they somehow were very angry at the situation, at the demons. And then from the mouth of each of Vishnu, Shiva and Brahma, a great and powerful effulgence burst forth, and from the body of Indra and other Devas an effulgence burst forth, and all of that united together, forming an accumulation of extreme energy, burning as if a burning peak of mountain, pervading all quarters and with its flames. The Devas saw that incomparable effulgence emitted from the body of all Devas and enveloping the triple world got embodied as a woman. Her face was found with the energy coming from Shiva, her hairs with energy coming from Yama, her hands with that of Vishnu, her breast with that of the moon, her torso, the middle part, with that of Indra, her thighs and shanks with that of Varuna, buttocks with that of earth, and so on. So again, energy. So this time, earlier they were taking energy, so somehow and Sri was in the center. So now the how you say, the strategy is reversed. So now and again in the different situation, different context, different strategy is going on, but somehow similar to some extent is happening. So altogether 14 of them. So 14 now. Earlier there were 10 of them. Now in the Puranic world, still we have some 6 of them are there, the same, but there are other more. Like this time, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, they are there as the prominent deities who contribute to the embodiment of the goddess. There are Soma, Indra, Varuna, Agni, Vishwakarman from the Vedic world, and still some others. And in this case, in case of the Puranic story, they also contribute different weapons. So you know that all the Vedic deities, they are anthropomorphic, human-like. They are not multi-armed, multi-legged, multi-faced. So the different scheme is going on. So here now Brahma gives her Kamandalu, Vishnu gives her the discus, and so on. So that way the 18-armed goddess is formed. So Now let's briefly reflect. So in Satapatha Brahmana, the goddess is directly originated from the supreme god Prajapati and is independent of other gods. So she has upper hand. Even so they want to dispossess, she takes them back. So they have to sign a treaty of peace and then maintain friendship. They try to dispossess, but they could not do that completely. And in case of Devīmāhātmya, the Madhyama Charitra, I would say Devīmāhātmya second story, the goddess is a beneficiary or the product of gods, so somehow dependent, but she is more powerful because she stands as the accumulation of all energy. So we will come back again to this Vedic story comparison, but let's now go to the Prathama Charitra, the first. So there are 3 sections in Devīmāhātmya. So in the first section, there is the story of Yoga Nidra. So it's more abstract. So I picked up the second one because there are different components identified, and so there is comparison easier. Now let's go to the first story. The sage is telling that the goddess is eternal, the entire world is her body, and all this entire world she pervades. Nevertheless, her arising happens in various ways. Listen to me. When she reveals herself in order to accomplish the task of the gods, people regard that she is born, but people still call her eternal. As soon as Vishnu spread Sesha and resorted to Yoga Nidra at the time when the world was nothing but one ocean, just water, 2 demons called Madhu and Kaitava, born from earwax of Vishnu and known for being dreadful, made efforts to kill Brahma, who was situated on the lotus projected from the navel of Vishnu. Seeing those 2 as cruel asuras and seeing Janardana, who is literally means the protector of people, asleep, Brahma concentrated in his heart and praised Yoga Nidra, who had made her abode in the eyes of Vishnu in order to awake Vishnu. And then, thus praised by Brahma for the sake of awakening Vishnu, so that he kills Madhu and Kaitava, the goddess characterized by darkness, Tamashi, came out of the eyes, mouth, nose, arms, heart, and chest of Vishnu and stayed in the eyes of Brahma, as if Brahma is a child and he should not see the fight. No? And so, who was born from the unmanifest. And Vishnu, abandoned by this goddess, Yoga Nidra, rose up from his serpent bed and saw those Madhu and Kaitava. They fought for 5,000 years, but they were not able to defeat each other. Then again Mahamaya, so Yoga Nidra, she deluded the demons, and then the deluded, they think that they are superior, and they ask Vishnu to choose a boon, and Vishnu tricks them and then says that I want to kill you, be my victims. And then now they are tricked, they have to accept that. But they say that they can still outsmart, and they say that kill me. So because they are seeing that the entire world is nothing but water, they said where the earth is not flooded, kill me there. But Vishnu kills on his thighs. So that is his strategy from the beginning. In the Hiranyakashipu story also, he kills the demon on his thighs. So anyway, this is myths can have different motives, different components, but the basic thing here, I want to say that somehow earlier, Prajapati was tired, so some sort of negativity, some sort of unmanifest power is associated with the goddess. So there in Satapatha Brahmana story, the goddess rises from the body of Prajapati, and Prajapati is tired, and then Sri is excellent, burning and flickering and so on. So this way somehow, so which way it is associated, which way it is interpreted, but this element of fatigue, tension, exchange, the fight, that kind of thing is there. In case of the Vishnu's story, so she is identified as Nidra, Tamashi, Vimohini. So that way, shadowy nature is there. She is covering, enveloping unmanifest, so unmanifest becoming manifest, so that kind of idea we can see. And so there once she arises, Prajapati is somehow put in the background, and then there is interaction between the 10 Vedic gods and then the goddess. But here the goddess helps Vishnu, so still there is some sort of reciprocal exchange is there. So this is another story. So there is still a third story again. So the certain different maybe component and motifs can be there. Let's again from Devīmāhātmya, let's read that and then again reflect. No? So defeated by Shumba and Nishumba in the third section of the Devīmāhātmya, deities went to the Himalaya and praised Vishnu Maya. By the way, in the third charitra, what happens is earlier in the second charitra we do not know she is which way she is sided. She is Vishnu Maya or not. But in the first charitra, she is Vishnu Maya. She rises from the body of Vishnu. She is the unmanifest, shadowy aspect of Vishnu. But in the third one, so the Vishnu Mayam Pratushtubu. So they are praising Vishnu Maya, the magical power of Vishnu. But so when the gods are praising, Parvati somehow walks in. So they are to go to the Ganges, and then she asks herself, she asks the gods whom these gods are praising. But instead of the gods answering, from her body, a goddess, beautiful goddess, excellent in excellent form, she comes out and she says that they are praising me. I am no Kaushiki. I am Bhadra. Later she is also identified as Durga. So and then the story goes which says that as soon as that beautiful god exited from her body, Parvati turned dark. Parvati became Kali. And then a little further, and then this beautiful girl goes to the Himalayas. She is in a peak of the Himalaya mountain, and then the demons see that excellent the most beautiful, and then they want to possess her and so on, capture her, and then want her as wife. But so then they attack her. She says that you defeat me and take me away. But they attack, and then when they attack again, so from the forehead of this beautiful goddess, Kali appears. So somehow here from the body of Parvati, a beautiful god is coming out, and the Parvati is turning black. On the other hand, there is again Kali coming from the body of this beautiful girl. So another probably motive is working there. But one interesting motive we can see that they successful or not, they want to equate Vishnu Maya and Shiva, the Shaiva power, Shaiva goddess, and then the Vaishnava goddess. On the other hand, there is so this idea of light and darkness, manifest and unmanifest, the fighting active goddess, warrior goddess, and then the peaceful, tranquil goddess, and so on. So, and also this Parvati turning black, and then from the Ambika, Durga, another Kali coming out. Maybe we can say that as a double binding strategy. So somehow to equate Vaishnavi Shakti and the Shaivi Shakti. Okay, so we have these stories altogether about the embodiment of the goddess. Now let's reflect on the strategies of divine embodiment altogether. So what happens? So in other context, when they talk about Shiva or Vishnu, they say that the early idea, maybe it's even can be parallel. They say that Vishnu, or anybody who is called Bhagavan, he has 6 qualities. So we have, like from Vishnu Purana, Jnana Shakti Bala Ishwarya Virya Tejam Shashe Satah Bhagavat Shabda Bachyani Bina He Yair Guna Divi Sarvani Tatra Bhutani Vashanti Paramatmani Bhuteshu Cha Sarvatma Vasudevas Tata Smritah. The same way, aishwaryasya samagrasya वीर्यस्य यशस्श्रियः ज्ञानवैराग्ययोश्चैव षण्णां भग इति ऋणा. So it is from Vaishnava context. They say that there are 6 excellent qualities in full. So these are there in Vishnu or in the Godhead. No? So lordship, energy, fame, excellence, knowledge, detachment. So the certain qualities are there. So in 2 different lists. So knowledge, power, might, lordship, strength, valor. No? So these all in extreme the completeness they are there. So somehow embodiment of that. No? So the God or the Godhead is storehouse of all excellent qualities. He is the source, so we want to see that way. So Vasudeva or Krishna or Shiva is nothing but extreme presence of these qualities. So in some other occasion you find 10. So in that case maybe for you it might be interesting. So they say that this is more Saivite, I think. Jnanam vairajyam aishwaryam tapa satyam kshama dhritihi srashtritvam atmasambodho yadhishthatritvam cha. Somehow vairagya is present. No? So and then tapa in this case. So some knowledge, patience, ascetic power, lordship, truth, self-awareness, creatorship, forbearance, detachment, and being the foundation of all. No? So these qualities were there regarded to be there in the God or the Godhead. So the concept of Indian divinity is, so the divinity should be sarvaguna sampanna. No? So the extremity of all qualities, extremity of all power, and so on. And to some extent parallel we can say, but which one is powerful, that we can reflect about, but maybe we don't have much time. So there is also another strategy that we have polytheism. There are so many deities, and then Sarvadeva Mayo Hari or Sarvadeva Maya Shiva. No? So like that, when they start to philosophize and then say that all deities are one, so they wanted to see, at least in case of the central deities like Vishnu consists of all gods, Shiva consists of all gods. The same way Shakti, the goddess, also consists of all gods, like that way. So maybe these are the same but coming from different. So either you call them as qualities, powers, excellences, or different deities representing these qualities. So but the Godhead or the goddess, male or female, the gender doesn't matter, should be the extremity of that. So that is happening also in the conceptualization and the embodiment of the goddess. So let me go back now historically when we reflect on the personality of the goddess. So she is a sister, like in case of Puri, so or in case of this hero worship context, you have seen this representation, like there is Krishna, Vasudeva, and Balarama, and in the middle is Subhadra. She is a sister. And also again going back, they have interpreted Kaushiki differently, and maybe many people have not paid attention to it, and like Devīmāhātmya has to invent a new story to say that why she is called Kaushiki, because Sarira Koshatastasya Samudbhuta, since she is born out of the sheath of the body of Parvati, that's why she is called Kaushiki. But this is a fake interpretation. The original idea is Kaushika is Indra, and then Kaushiki is the sister of Indra. And in the different forts, because the forts are, how you say, the passes of the mountains, these were the vulnerable points. So there were the military barracks, and there they worshipped Indra. Later that role is taken over by others, so another issue. So Indra together with his sister Kaushika and Kaushiki were the brother and sister, and that later, now the cult of Indra somehow is gone, so that is mapped into somehow incorporated into, as I said, in case of Krishna. So you know, Krishna lifts the mountains, there is tension between Krishna and Indra, and then later Krishna is acknowledged as the Godhead. So this kind of strategies are there, but in deep, so as Govinda, so he is the lord of the cattle, and in the Vedic world it was Indra. So Govinda actually, as historians say, it comes from Go Indra. Go Inda, Govinda. So, and in later, the ones they Sanskritize, they say that Gam Bindati, he is the cow finder, but it is Sanskritization of Go Inda. And again, Govendra is also. So there is the presence of Indra, and in this relation of God and goddess also, originally she was called Kaushiki, Durga, because she was worshipped in the forts, and then like why she is in Vindhya. Vindhya was the most vulnerable pass, and there she was worshipped. And now once the Indra's cult is gone, it is incorporated. So somehow in fossilized form we can see that. And Devīmāhātmya now, that is already gone, very much in the second millennium of the Common Era, when they are reinventing, they have this name. So still, Kaushiki, Durga, and then they have to interpret, and they invent this story that she comes out of the body of the goddess. Sorry for this digression, but still relevant. So quite old, and also in some tantras, this idea that the goddess is a sister, she is independent, she is not consort earlier. So there is a personality as sister, there is personality as warrior, there is personality as consort. Later, in the male-dominated world, she need to be consort. And earlier there was like the underlying and the exoteric and the esoteric. So the again in Vaishnavism, earlier there is no parallel worship of Vishnu and Sri. So Sri is in the heart. Even in later time, Ramanuja Vaishnavism and other thing, Hridaye Sri Pratishtita. So Sri is in his heart. So there is no need of separate worships and so on. So different imagination of the goddess is there, from the royal world, from the priestly Brahmanical world, from the battlefield, from the peaceful world. So many different things are going on, and then again, so whom she belongs, we can't say. So in certain context she belongs to Prajapati, and you know that Prajapati gradually becomes Vishnu, and then again, so this kind of shift of the qualities and the personalities, identifications are there. And there are many different, so gradually when there is philosophization for the development of Shaktism, now it's taking shape. So she is regarded as the time, she is regarded as the space, and she is all in all. And also still there is she Maya Shakti or she is Swatantra Shakti. So in different context, she can be the magical power, she can be the elusive power, she can be the power of freedom of the Godhead, and so on. The same way, earlier you have the concept of Yoga Nidra. So the Yoga Nidra, which has a long history, somehow, as I already said, light. So there is also light and darkness. Don't take it too much in negative way. They are so. The beauty lies in the shadow, and so on. Light and darkness, they somehow complement each other, and so on. So, and but gradually, I would not be able to cover today, but even after mapping all different personalities of the goddess into non-dualistic Godhead, goddess head, still when they are at one point, maybe 1200 around, or even late, it is possible, when they are composing Devi Bhagavata. So we can see that in Devi Bhagavata they want to play and then replace Yoga Nidra with Brahma Vidya. And again, about Shaktism, people focus on different kinds of local deities. So there are aboriginal deities, Brahmanic, from the Brahmanical world, or the folk deities, and other different kinds of deities. They are equated into the figure of Durga, Parvati, Bhagavati, and so on. But about this time, when there is already the tantric revolution and the unification of all different forms of goddess, probably the Vedic world, the Brahmanical world, gets alarmed, and they want to again have Shakta center in the Brahmanical world, and they focus on Brahma Vidya. Now they start to say that Godhead, so what underlies the goddess is not Yoga Nidra but Brahma Vidya in Devīmāhātmya, and there is a lot of material on Gayatri as now the five-faced beautiful goddess, and so there are different forms of Gayatri. So you go to different goddess temples and so on, but equally present. There are not so many temples of Gayatri, but as initiation in the Brahmanical world, Gayatri is very much present. So that is another avenue of Shaktism. And Devīmāhātmya very much invests into that. So there are a lot of different components in the figure of the goddess. And when they are philosophizing, then they start to layer all these different figures into the form of para, apara, para, forms of goddess. And other conceptions are there, that there is geophysical body of the goddess. So like in the form of sacred pithas. An initiated person, initiated in the tantric system, he has to go from one sacred place to another place. So there are different lists, 16 Shakta Pithas or 24 Shakta Pithas, then 32 Shakta Pithas, 51 Shakta Pithas, 64 Shakta Pithas. So that way it expands. So somehow they see that as the body, the geophysical body of the goddess. And also cosmic body. If you go to Saundarya Lahari, there are beautiful verses praising the beauty of the goddess, beauty itself as the goddess, and then like her earrings are sun and moon, so somehow she is projected in the cosmos. So this kind of strategy you find already also in the case of other male gods, but that now also applies to goddess. And also speech is the goddess. So and also our vital energy is the goddess. So in different ways the goddess is imagined, conceptualized, and then in iconic form. So in the form of mandala, in the form of multiple armed embodiment. So she is there. So altogether, so I would like to say that where I started, the concept of Indian divinity, and then by implication the idea of the goddess underlies many different personalities, many different motives, and but before I conclude, let me say that and Sri, so as I said in Satapatha Brahmana, that is coming from the royal world, but you may say that there is no offerings for Sri, there is no fire sacrifice for Sri, but gradually that happens. But let's say that even in earlier period, when this in post-Vedic time it starts to happen, but even before that, I would say that because of the power of language, so the gendered language and other things, everyone wanted Sri. So like in again in other Brahmana passages, Prajapatauha Agre Sri Asa. Sri was with Prajapati, Sri was with the gods, and then Indra wanted that. And Sri was with the gods and humans, and then Indra wanted that. So this kind of everyone was coveting for Sri as excellence and some sort of abstraction. No, but initially the language itself asks us to think that way. So an embodiment, abstract embodiment is we see that happening. So that I say is already to some extent concrete idea of Sri as a goddess is there in Satapada Brahmana. But even before that, even in Rig Veda, they talk about like Ushasya and Ratri as two sisters, as the mother of the fire. So fire is very much in the center, no? So like in the sacrificial world. But in the poetic context, if you want to go and read Usha Sukta and Ratri Sukta, that would be limited. Maybe there are few suktas, but here and there, so they say that now, like I have one here, night and dawn, even exchanging their color, together suckle their single child, that is the fire. Between heaven and earth, the bright ornament shines out. You know? And you know that the fire and the sun, they are equated. And so that is the divine child of these two sisters, Ushasya and Ratri. And again, here also you see that Ushasya is bright, so the brightening aspect, and then Ratri is the complementary, the sister, so she is the darkness. So this is there. And then again another, the two daughters of the ruddy one, differing in form. The one is ornamented with stars, that is Ratri, and the other is with the sun. The two pure ones, transiting alternatively, wandering apart, being praised, they both approach the prayerful thought once it is heard. So somehow their presence is there, the abstraction is there, and gradually, initially it was not in the ritual form probably, but in the mind of poets, in the mind of these practitioners, very early, these feminine principles and the embodiment, I would say that, of power, certain energy, certain divinity in feminine form, they start to take shape. So I would say that these, in a way we can say, in case of Ratri and Usha's proto-goddesses, maybe even this royal power, the excellence Sri also. So she is, we can say, still we can say para form of proto goddess. So she's still kind of proto goddess, but she is regarded as very much embodiment of the royalty, the symbolic representation of the entire kingdom, the cosmic kingdom or the local earthly kingdom. So and gradually, so in that figure, I would say other goddesses from folk traditions, warrior tradition, all they are merged, and then we have the complete figure of the goddess. So I will stop there. Thank you.
Thank you.